What's going on YouTube? Cloverbelts here, back with another Series 13 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at all the mythicals that are in the game and start ranking them with a tier list, right? So I did something like this in Series 12 where we ranked the restricteds, and more or less we're going to bring back the same kind of list and start doing the mythicals, right? Because Series 13 is going to start next month, and you know, other people have been doing their own tier lists, and I've got my own as well. Some surprises, some not so surprises, but you know, that's why we're here. We're going to be talking about them. So before we start ranking the mons, let's just explain the tier list. So of course, S tier basically just means, you know, best of the best. You know, very splashable on most teams. Very, very strong, of course. You know, it just makes your team instantly better. That's what S tier means to me. Okay, A, you know, that just means, like, you know, it's very, very good. You know, it maybe not splashable on like every single team, but for the most part, it's very dominant in the format, right? And then B, now with B, you know, and now we're starting to go into like the viable stuff, but not like super good. You know, things that, you know, they're playable to a degree. You know, they have some usage, you know, and you can see them on some teams working. But for the most part, you have, like, you know, just better options in general. And speaking of better options, that's like what the C tier is. So like C tier, just like I said, better options, but like very niche role, where like they're good on like one kind of team, maybe even two. But other than that, you know, they're just not that great. And a lot of the mythicals, you know, that are like in the game, they're like, you know, okay. They're not like super good, like compared to like an extra legendary, you know, but some are quite good, but not all of them, right? And that's what we're here to talk about. And then of course D, that just means not good. And I just want, you know, people to understand this. Like a lot of good teams that, from what I'm seeing so far, a lot of them don't even like have a mythical, and they just run like an extra legendary or two, right? And it just makes sense, right? Because they just cover more of your bases, and they give you more options and flexibility into like things that are strong in the meta, and the mythicals can't really do that. You know, they're cool looking, of course they have like some cool moves, but other than that, like their like niche is very selective and not conclusive for what we want to do in Series 13 or even like Series 12 Dynamax stuff. Not even Dynamax, I'm sorry, just Series 13 Dynamax, not Series 12. Okay. So that's the explanation of our tiers. So we'll go through these one by one, and we'll look at some of their sets and see where we can rank them. And let's just go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to be looking at Zeraora today for the first thing, and I think Zeraora, you know, I've seen the movie, so it's kind of cool. I think it's in the C tier, right? I don't think it's the worst. All right, but to me, it's like very niche. I think it's like good mainly on like Kyogre teams or just like walling Regieleki. But then in that regard, why don't you just use your own Regieleki, right? So let's take a look at Zeraora, right? So Zeraora gets Volt Absorb, so that's pretty good for a Kyogre in terms of like pivoting purposes, where like Kyogre doesn't want to take an electric attack, and then you can just switch it in and soak up that electric move, right? And again, like we said, Regieleki stuff doesn't really do a whole lot into it. And that being said, you get your own Electro Web, so that's cool. And if you look at its stats, base 143, that's pretty good too. You know, but the problem is this doesn't outspeed this thing, right? The Calyrex Shadow Rider, and that's already one problem. And you know, you also have this thing, the Zacian, right? Base 148. So you got arguably two of the more popular mons, restricteds, that outspeed this thing. So for that reason, it's not like as appealing, but it does have some use again on those Kyogre teams. But like again, with a format where there's like Groudon everywhere, also, in addition to Calyrex and Zacian, it's a little tricky to try and use Zeraora. But that being said, it's not like unplayable. Like it still gets something like Fake Out. Plasma Fist is also pretty cool. Where is that move? Right, normal moves become electric type, so that's not bad either. And this does also get like a physical flying move, so this thing also gets max Airstream, so that's not bad either, I guess. But other than that, you know, it doesn't really give you a whole lot. It does get knockoff, so maybe on like something like a Tailwind Tin with Kyogre, where you can get like special defense drops, and then just have Kyogre or maybe even your own Calyrex just sweep. But like, again, very, very niche. And there's other mons that do that job a little bit better than Zeraora. So in this case, like, okay, you can just use your own Regieleki in this case if you want to just use Electroweb. But yeah, that's my take on it. So I think C tier is very appropriate for Zeraora. Not the worst, but very, very selective in what you want to try and do with it. I think it's okay with Kyogre, but that's about it. And even then, there's better options that you can use besides Zeraora. So let's just keep on going with our tier list. All right, next up, we're going to be looking at Diancie. So, man, you know, I look at Diancie here. So, like, let's look at Diancie's stats, right? This is... Some are good, some are not so good. I mean, base 50 HP, that's not great, but look at the bulk, right? So base 150 defense and special defense, that's very, very good, right? And if you look at the special attack, that's also okay. And it does get this cool move, Diamond Storm, which is, you know, where you can raise your defense by 2 points. So then, like, it starts coming together. And then maybe, does this thing get body press? It does get body press. So then you can run like a Diamond Storm body press set, but like then you realize, first of all, you're not slower than Calyrex, so you know, even though you can run Trick Room on it, you don't outspeed that thing, and that Rock Fairy typing just makes it 4 times weak to stuff like Melmetal, something like a Zacian, something like a Magearna, and that's bad. And for that reason, you know, those are like arguably 3 of the more common ones. Just like Zeraora, it's just like weak, not faster than some of the other common stuff, and Diancie is just also more or less in the same kind of boat. It's that typing just really kills it. If it was a different typing, maybe I would consider bumping it up a little bit, but for that reason, I put it in the not good actually. That 4 times weakness to steel, it just doesn't help it. And in terms of like a move pool or even like Clear Body's pretty cool, I guess. Maybe you can run like a weakness policy set on this. I can see that maybe happening in the 2nd month of the format, but like that being said, I don't know what else it can do. It does get Iron Defense, but like, but if you're going for like Iron Defense body press stuff, there's like other Pokemon that just do the job better, right? If you don't have to like use Diancie to do that, right? And you don't even get that 4 times weakness if you use like a Ferrothorn, for example, right? So for this reason, I think it does belong in the D tier. Oh, it does get Trick Room though, so that's kind of cool. At least I did see that. So I guess you can run a set like this to a degree, but like, why? So, you know, I almost can put it in the C tier. Can I put it? That 4 times weakness is just so bad. Okay, maybe if I calm down a little bit later, maybe I can bump it up into the C tier, right? Because it does have a use, it's just not great with that typing. But yeah, that's where I'm leaving it in the D tier for now. Let's keep going. All right, next up we got Victini. Okay, so Victini, all right, I think it's in the A tier, right? Very strong. At first I was like, is this S tier? I think it's just in the A tier. So like Victini, again, you know, we're gonna be releasing also that Victini team eventually, but you know, just from like ability standpoint, like accuracy multiplied by 1.1, like why wouldn't you pair this thing with like Groudon and a Venusaur, right? This is just like a dream come true for Groudon and Venusaur to have their accuracy increase, so that way Precipice Blades can just hit. Oh, I put it for Venusaur. So that P-Blades from Groudon actually has, you know, a good percentage, and not that to say that 85 isn't good, but like now you're at 93, and then Sleep Powder from a respectable 75 to now you're bumped in the 80s, and that's pretty good too. And then now you can even consider almost wide lens on this thing. Stay tuned for that. I don't know if you can do that with Victini, but this is like good for Sun, right? And Sun teams are very, very strong already. And just to help them be even better, you know, is just deserving of that A tier slot. And not only that, it also gets, of course, this move, like V-Create, which is very good in the Sun. Look at this, base 180 attack. And then now you throw in Groudon's Sun, and then you just make this stronger. What doesn't take this? I want to know. It's very good. Now, that being said, It also gets some other moves that are really cool. It does this thing get it does get Trick Room, so that's also really good. So then now, you know, Groudon, you know, typically is very, very slow. Victini can help Groudon, you know, with the Trick Room setup, right? And this also gets something called Final Gambit. And I think it's the best Final Gambit user just because of that base 100 HP stat. So you got some combinations with Final Gambit, and I think something like a Final Gambit is good with something like Magearna, right? Because what you can do with Victini and Magearna is, oh, I moved it. Is if you can go for Final Gambit, you know, OHKO yourself, and then potentially OHKO another Mon, and now all of a sudden Magearna just picked up 2 KOs, and now because of Soul Heart, now it's +2, and you can just Dynamax it, right? So it's usable on Sun, it's usable with Magearna, it's quite nice. It's a good Trick Room setter. And then what else does it get? It gets some other like interesting stuff. It gets Expanding Force. You get a little bit of grass coverage for Kyogre. Oh wait, no, it's a we want like physical stuff. Fusion Bolt, not bad. I don't know. But honestly, that's pretty much all I really want Victini to do. And then probably just run Protect in this last slide, honestly. I've seen some Scarf sets, but like I think just a Sash Victini on a Sun team is just really, really nice, along with Magearna, right? So for that reason, again, you know, we're putting in the A tier. Good for Zacian, good for Melmetal, okay? And again, good against Magearna. It does relatively well. But in some cases, like you can even look at this and say, like, is it really better than Charizard? And I don't know. I think I like Charizard a little bit more just because of the Wildfire chip damage and the Airstream, right? That being said, you know, again, there is use for Victini along with this. I don't know if you want to run both Victini and Zard on the same team. I think you're going to have to pick one. And then that will affect like the rest of your team composition a little bit, right? But still, Victini, very, very good. I don't think it's S tier, but I think it's very, very good. Alright, next up is Celebi. So let's just clear some room here. So Celebi, right? Again, I think it's like I think it's right here and not good. Because again, well, look at this typing, Psychic Grass. So like, you know, weak to the Sun stuff and then weak to Calyrex stuff. You know, cool base stats, but like, what else can it really do? Look at, and the ability isn't that great. You know, non-volatile status condition, cured when it switches out. I don't really need that so much. It doesn't just, it just doesn't do enough to the table, right? At least with Victini, you know, you help Groudon and Venusaur be better, and you know, you can even help enable your Magearna with Final Gambit. Like, that's really good. That's what makes Victini A tier. Now, Celebi, can you do anything along those lines? And the answer is no. So, I mean, like, it gets like a cool move pool. Calm Mind, alright, that's nice. What else do we got here? We get Light Screen, but then again, why wouldn't you just use Grimmsnarl, right? The better screen setter. Yeah, see, like, all these moves, you know, a lot of moves, but none that I could really see using. Alright, it gets Trick Room, but that's pretty much it. Ally Switch, do we need to go there? Helping Hand, you know, not Imprison. Decent support moves, but like, alright, Life Dew, not bad. But like, what else can I do with this thing? Like, what kind of partner can I put this on, and who doesn't do that job better? That's what I want to know. So, you know, it just doesn't give me anything to the table, and the typing isn't good, the ability isn't good. I'm sorry, it's going in the D tier. All right, next. All right, Volcanion. All right, so this one's a little more interesting. I think this is going to be in the B tier. So this is viable. I don't think it's as good in the A tier. I think it's definitely better than C tier, but I think it's in the B. I think it's good. So what else? What can Volcanion do? So cool typing with Fire, Water. All right. Does get Water Absorb. So you know you're already thinking like Lapras, Gashadon kind of stuff. You know, and then it gets this move called Steam Eruption. So that's just like a better Scald. Alright, and it has some use there. I think it's good with like Groudon and Kyogre on the same team. You know, and just look at these stats. Alright, so good special attack. 130 is very, very nice. HP, okay, solid 80. Defense 120, special defense 90. So that's like solid bulk. This speed is... that's like a weird speed, right? Because it's not slow enough to be good in Trick Room and not fast enough to like be good on like faster Tailwind teams, right? So that's what holds it back. I mean, this Fire Water typing is kind of interesting. The ability is not bad, so it's like not bad against Kyogre stuff, but like Kyogre can still kind of like beat this. And then same with like Groudon. Like Groudon can also just beat this, especially when you have Drought out. This Steam Eruption is just not doing that much. Although you could potentially burn it, but like even then, it's good. Like I can see this being used on other teams. Like it's got some good moves. Earth Power is really nice. So Max Quake. What else do we get here? Do we get an Air Streamer by? Do we get a Steel move? Oh, we get Flash Cannon. Okay, so we get Max Steel Spike and Max Quake. So that's pretty cool. All right, I could see that. Okay, Scorching Sands. All right, I mean that's still Max Quake. Sludge Bomb's interesting. Okay, Sludge Wave. All right, again special attack boosting. All right, not too bad. Weather Ball's not bad on Kyogre Groudon teams. I could see that. All right, so it's not bad. Yeah, I mean it's got some use. I can definitely see like a Protect with something like Life Orb over here. And then if you can get this in Tailwind or Trick Room, maybe it can do something. But like, yeah, I mean, what else? Like Calyrex Ice Rider? Okay, I mean, sure. I'm just thinking about Groudon right now. Not too bad against Melmetal, not too bad against Zacian. Actually very good against Zacian, to be honest. You know, that Fire Water typing is really, really nice. That's why I also put it like in the B tier, right? Because it has that going for it. So you wall that Behemoth Blade, you wall that Play Rough, so not bad. You know, it just depends. Can you get the speed control, right? You know, if you can, then Volcanion is actually really, really nice. But if not, then it's sometimes you might not just even bring it to the game. But I think it's okay. I think it deserves to be in the B tier. You know, it's very, very, very viable, right? But that's my take on Volcanion. All right, next. All right, Jirachi, the Wishmaker. All right, it belongs with its little friend here, Celebi. Right, I think it's in the D tier. I don't think it's that great. I think it's a cool looking mon, but like other than that, you know, why would you use this over like to Steel Cycle? Why wouldn't I use Solgaleo over this thing, right? It's just, you know, I don't know. Serene Grace, okay, sure, maybe you might take advantage of that, but like other than that, for what? I mean, cool base stats. It's like, again, just like Celebi and Victini in that regard. I think that those are like a little trio, but you know, that Psychic typing is just not doing anything for it. You know, in a format that's run with like Yveltal stuff, Darkness, Calyrex Shadow Rider, you know, Astro Barrage, like this Jirachi is just not doing anything to that. You know, cool move pool, but again, the typing is what holds it back a little bit, and it just doesn't get anything else that I can really see that, you know, to take advantage of. Or at least like it does get something good, but then like there's other options that can do the same job but better, right? So, you know, again, another Trick Room setter, but like again, I have other better mons to do that. Like, I can use Lunala in that regard. If I wanted a bulky Trick Room setter, this thing used to get Follow Me. It doesn't get that anymore. See, if this thing got Follow Me, right, like it used to, then I could see it being bumped up, because like how do you break that if you had Follow Me? But it doesn't. So for that reason, it goes and stays in the not good tier, right? So tough break there, but hey, that's just the meta. All right, Mew. Any Gen 1 fans over there? All right, Mew. So like again, just like its other little partners down here, you know, a lot of base 100 stats, can learn every single move in the game, and I think it belongs in the viable tier, believe it or not. And the reason why is this move here. It's called Transform, right? This can copy stats, moves, types, and ability. And I think as the format develops, more teams are going to try and use Mew. And this is just like a better Ditto, in my opinion, right? Again, that Psychic typing does hold it back a little bit, you know, because of the Calyrex stuff and the Yveltal. But, you know, because of Transform, I think you can almost neuter that kind of thing. And, you know, just having access to pretty much all the moves that you want, you can create a lot of different combinations and have that good niche role on a certain team What that role is depends on you and depends on how you want to play it. But you got all these moves to use from. It's got to have some good uses, right? And again, just having access to that transform, I think it's going to set it apart from some of the others. But right now, it's in the viable tier. I can see some people using it. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I don't seem like the mute type, but you know, I respect what it can do with transform. So again, for that reason, I'm gonna put it's way better than some of these others. So I put it in the viable tier. Okay, now this is what we call the big daddy over here. We got Magearna over here. We released our first team building video with for Series 13 with Magearna. You know, honestly, I was gonna put it in very strong. I was gonna put it like, of course, the head of the very strongs. It's really good in terms of what it does. And again, this is before I tried it out. Let me just delete this. So what does Magearna do? Again, Soul Heart. Anytime a Pokemon faints, doesn't matter if it's you picking up the KOs or if it's you know, the opponent KOing something. If anything dies, all right, Magearna gets +1. And you could do a lot of positioning, understanding who's gonna die and who's not gonna die depending on the turn, and then just getting those boosts is really important, especially in a Dynamax format. Look at this. Look at these stats. It has the same bulk as Zacian, pretty much. All right, and then now, you know, base 130 special attack, and then now you're just soaking up all these KOs that are happening left and right. And then if you pair this with Victini, Final Gambit, you could potentially get 2 KOs right off the bat, and then Magearna didn't even have to lift the finger. All right, so, and it's a good Trick Room sweeper. Same typing as Zacian, Steel Fairy, so really good. One of the best typing in the game. Can be good on a Kyogre team as well, because you know, Steel types are always good on a Kyogre team. You saw the team that we put it on with Trick Room, with Palkia and Calyrex, Ice Rider. I think it works there as well. Could even work with on a Groudon team to an extent, right? So it's very splashable on a lot of different teams depending on how you want to play it. And for that reason also, just adding to its tools. At first I put it in the very strong. I think we got to put it here in the S tier. I think this is by far, you know, of the mythicals that we have available, this is the best one in my opinion. All right, I don't think it's unstoppable. I just said it's the best one that we have. Okay, but yeah, it's gonna be really good. I can see it winning a lot of these tours that are happening within these 2 months. Whoever's got the Magearna, or at least like good top cut results, of course. It's very strong, of course. All right, next. All right, now we got Marshadow. So Marshadow is one of the interesting ones, right? I think if there was a tier in between like very strong and viable, I would put it there. It's either like a high B in the viable or like a low A, and I'm undecided at the moment. I don't know. I think for now I'm gonna put it in the high B until I see it like do really well. I'm gonna put it in like the highest of the B's, right? So just under the very strong. Like what can it do? So Technician, good ability where like base power moves of 60 or less, you know, they get a stat bonus, right? So that's really nice. It gets some moves that can benefit off of that. We'll take a look in a second. But the main move that it has is this move, Spectral Thief, where you can steal those boosts before dealing damage. So imagine Dynamax format, imagine all these boosts that are happening from like, you know, Max Quake, Max Steel Spike, Max Knuckle stuff, and then you just click Spectral Thief, you steal those boosts, and then you deal damage, right? So it's actually really nice. And just imagine like Magearna with all these boosts, and then all of a sudden Marshadow comes in, clicks Spectral Thief, and thank you for those boosts. Same thing for like Calyrex stuff, right? Same thing. You steal the boosts, and then you get to attack, and then you can just KO both of them actually. But that being said, what other moves can it get that can benefit from Technician? It does get Airstream, so if you feel like Dynamaxing this, I'm not Dynamaxing, but if you feel like clicking this, that's okay. I know it does get Shadow Sneak, so that'll benefit off of Technician. I think that's pretty cool. What else does it get that can excel? Oh, Rock Tomb, Speed Control. Okay, respectable. I do like that move. What else? We did say Shadow Sneak. Okay, Assurance, sure. Fall. Yeah, alright, that's pretty. Oh, False Palm. Ooh, Force Palm. Ooh, 30% chance. So Stab, Force Palm, 30% chance to para. Not bad. Okay, I could see that. Payback is interesting, but Shadow Punch. Alright. It's got an interesting move pool. Alright. I like this move set, right? Spectral Thief, Shadow Sneak, and then Rock Tomb. And then you can even just put like Protect in the last one. But yeah, it's a good mon for what it can do. I'd say it's one of those like utility mons, so to speak. Not a sweeper, not like full support. It has like these hidden moves, right? Spectral Thief, Rock Tomb, Speed Control, Shadow Sneak, breaking those sashes, and then just doing what you have to do in terms of like supporting your team. So I think it's one of those tech mons. I put it in the high B, very viable. I don't think it's in the A tier, definitely not the S tier, but I think it's very, very good for what we want it to do. All right, next. Keldeo. So I'm thinking sort of Justice, right? The king of it. So I put it in the C tier. It's like one of those niche mons, right? It can be good, but just only like one kind of setup. And if you look at its move pool, all right, well, what does it get? Let's take a look. So Keldeo. First, actually, let's look at its stats. So like 108, that's pretty good. That's very fast. All right, so you can always like EV this where like you can outspeed base 100s and have extra EVs left over. It's a good special attacker, base 129, so you don't care about Intimidate. That's really nice. Water Fighting, I don't think this is as good as Urshifu. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like, why wouldn't you just use Urshifu if you wanted to do like Water Fighting? But that being said, I could still see some beat up strats with Keldeo. Secret Sword is an interesting move, but again, Dynamax format, Max Knuckle, like what's the point? I do know that this thing gets Aqua Jet, so I could see this being paired with Colossal, but again, why wouldn't you just use Urshifu if you wanted to do Aqua Jet into Colossal stuff, right? So in that case, all right, that being said, okay, Max Airstream, not bad. Does this thing get Hydro Pump? It does get Hydro Pump. And then, like we said, Secret Sword. But like again, what else do we really need, Keldeo to do? Not really a whole lot. All right, here I'll click Secret Sword. But like, it just doesn't do anything else. But other than that, and again, it has that. You can always put this with Kyogre, but like again, no. It's got that niche role. Good for Colossal, I think, with Aqua Jet stuff. But that's about it. And then or like a beat up kind of thing. Both those things are very niche, all right? And, it's just like, are you trying to play that kind of team? Okay, sure. But other than that, I don't see this being paired with any other kind of team. So for that reason, you go in the C tier. At least you're better than, Jirachi and Celebi. But that's about it. That's all the credit I'm going to give for Keldeo. Okay, next is Genesect. So I actually like this thing. So, I think, is it better than Volcanion? Yes. Is it better than Marshadow? I don't know. I'm gonna put it right here in between. So still relatively high B tier. Bug Steel type is always really strong, right? So let's take a look. What was it? Why did I type that? Again, Genesect. That's what I was trying to type. So like download's a really good ability, right? Think of like Porygon 2. Anytime it got like a special attack download boost, that was never good news. And now you have something with base 120 special attack, or even base 120 attack with a download boost. So you could almost run like a mix set. So that's kind of cool. And just look at its move pool. So it gets like Bug Buzz, Stab Bug Buzz, really good, dropping special defenses. I could see this on like potential Kyogre teams, right? Benefiting from that rain to neuter that fire damage weakness. Gets Dark Pulse, so that's also good too. Again, on a Tailwind team, I could see, Max Darkness plays, and then Kyogre can just come in and take advantage of that. I could also see this paired with like Calyrex for that reason. So really, really nice there. Oh, it gets a Grass move, so not bad. Can be good against Groudon in that regard. Yeah, I'll even put that there. What else does it get? Does get Blizzard, so it does get Max Hailstorm. Nice little move pool, even like Flamethrower, also really nice. Yeah, I mean, I like what it can do. Oh, even Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt's also another good move. Oh, it even gets Thunder. Oh, like, you could definitely put this on a Kyogre team. Like, that's the thing. Like, on a Kyogre team, this thing actually looks okay. But, like, would you run this over Zacian? Would you run this over Melmetal? Okay, would you run this over Magearna? That's the question I ask you. Okay, depending on how you want to build this team. Like, you can see, it gets like some decent moves here, and the stats aren't terrible. I do wish it got 2 more speed, because then I can put it at 101 and then outspeed Zard. And then Thunder is looking really good in that matchup, but sadly, it does not, and it stays at 99. That being said, you speed tie, I think, Yveltal, right? So, okay, there's some usage there. Like, I think Genesect can be used on those Kyogre teams. I think I'll try it. It's intriguing me enough where I actually want to try and put this on a Kyogre team. But again, has some good usage. I think it's very good. I don't know if I can see it outside of Kyogre teams. I think it's still okay outside of them. Yeah, I mean, like, you're definitely better than Keldeo and Zeraora. So I think B tier is correct. I think that's where I want it to be. Again, definitely want to try with Kyogre. I don't know if I want to try with anything else, but still better than the other options, right? So for that reason, you stay in the B. Alright, Melmetal. Okay, so this is also one of my more recent ones that I've been building. I don't have the video out yet, but I was using it. It's actually very, very good. I'm going to put it right here in the very strong tier. I don't think it's better than Magearna. I think it's just along the lines of it, but the boost that Magearna gets is just too good. I think Melmetal is still very, very strong, just right behind it. Let's look at Melmetal's stats here. So Iron Fist is really good because you get these moves, double Iron Bash. You get other moves like Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, that benefit from Iron Fist. And then look at these stats, man. Base 135 HP, base 143 attack, defense 143, special defense a little bit lacking, but like this is Dynamax. You have high horsepower. You can get max Quake boost. You have an Assault Vest. All right, you can take care of that lack of special defense. And the good thing with the speed is that if you don't even have to run like 0 speed. If you just put Brave, I'll make it level 50 just so that you can understand it. You already underspeed Calyrex Ice Rider, and you don't even have to go 0 IVs in the speed. So you're always going to be faster than that thing. The only thing that's going to be slower than you is Amoonguss. All right, and we have other options for that, and that's not even used as much, right? So I think Melmetal is really, really good. I think, you know, Max Steel Spike is very strong. Max Quake Boost is very strong. You know, just make it yourself and your partner overall very, very bulky. I can see Assault Vest being used. I can see Weakness Policy being used. You know, maybe like with the Bulldoze, something like from a Dusclops, or even like a Calyrex Shadow Rider. I could see Life Orb being used again. You know, just run 3 moves. Maybe something like, you know, Ice Punch or Thunder Punch or Darkest Lariat, and then just put Protect on this. You know, something like this. I could see. But again, maybe you want to run like a Thunder Punch. You know, just to like snipe Kyogres with the Life Orb. I think that's really, really good, especially with the ability Iron Fist. And it's just a very, very good Trick Room sweeper, right? And that's its main job. Get in Trick Room, be that sweeper, boost your partner, and, you know, just, you know, rip faces, all right? And, you know, for that reason, very strong. I think that's exactly where it belongs. Yeah, it's going to be really good in Series 13, for sure. Alright, so there you have it. That is our tier list. The rest of these mons are not in the game, not for Sword and Shield. Oh, I think I just made it way too big. Let me just move this up a little bit. Yeah, right over here. I think this is where we want it. So, again, we got Magearna as the S tier mon, the only S tier mon, at least to me. Everything else is just you know, underclassed by it, or outclassed by it, I should say. I think Victini and Melmetal are very, very good. You'll see them on a lot of teams. Whereas like the B stuff, you'll see like Marshadow and Volcanion every now and then. I've seen one Genesect so far. I haven't played a whole lot of games. I played, you know, a good amount, but like on the Legacy website, there's like 10 people, and it's really hard to get a game. That's all I have to say there. But that being said, I've been keeping an eye on tours. I've been watching what people are running, and again, from the gist of it, is a lot of them either just use one mythical or they don't use any mythicals and they just use extra legendaries, because the legendaries just do the jobs better, and the mythicals are kind of meh. You know, they look cool. You know, they're nice to have, but they just, for the most part, stay in your Pokemon home box. And now's the only time where maybe you can use some of them, but other than that, you know, there's not a whole lot of usage for them. But I do think Magearna is really, really strong, of the, you know, the strongest of the bunch. And like I said, Victini, Melmetal right behind it. Marshadow, Genesect, Volcanion, and Mew, they all should get some play, whereas the others, probably not so much. Alright, maybe they try and force it just because it's their favorite mythical, but I don't see it doing very, very well in terms of, like, you know, Jirachi or Celebi. You know, these things are, they're cool, a little bit reminiscent, you know, when growing up, but they just don't offer too much for competitive play. That being said, again, give Jirachi Follow Me back. If it gets Follow Me, it's actually okay. Alright, but it doesn't. But yeah, let me know what you think of this tier list. Let me know what your tier list looks like. But again, we're still going to continue on with our Series 13 content along with our Series 12 cart battles. So that's how we're going to wrap up the month of August. But yeah, we'll be back next time with another video. Have a good night.